Yeah, we're live now.
No, we simply haven't gone missing. We just simply had a leave of absence. Good evening and welcome back to the WWRL Championship for the F1 2020 game. We're here at Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. Once again, I am delighted to say that he is also not missing. It is my co-commentator and my race engineer. It's Matt. Matt, welcome back, mate. How do you feel?
Good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I hope it is good. I feel better. My throat still hurts, so I'm a little bit huskier than I normally am.
I love a husky voice.
Well, let's hope most of the viewers do as well. So, believe me, guys, I hate this as much as anyone else. Zandvoort, one of two new tracks that have been added in F1 2020. And it's in stark contrast to the other new track, Vietnam, whereas Vietnam being this new style of circuit with the high walls, but with lots of runoff area in braking zones. So if you do overshoot your braking zone, you've got this runoff. Zandvoort, and like Mugello this year and Turkey, for example, there's grass and there are high curves that you don't want to touch. You make mistakes, whoop, someone's doing donuts. So for that reason, I think Zandvoort is actually going to become a fan favourite because it is a real throwback to the early days of Formula One. In fact, the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort can date all the way back to 1948, so this is before F1 as we know it. And I won't go into it too much here, but the track being right near the sea, it actually has a history with the Dutch people and World War II, where as opposed to being sent off to work in Germany, the mayor of Zandvoort convinced the Germans to let them build on the circuit and so they could hold parades. So it actually has a very rich history. Jim Clark has held the most wins with 4. Obviously, when we do eventually get to race here again, Dutch fans will be there rooting for Max to be the first Dutch winner of the Dutch Grand Prix.
I must just say, those stands are going to be fine. They're orange.
There's going to be orange everywhere. Now, let me see where we've got up to. So the track isn't without change. There are 2 new sections, which are the banked corners. There's one after, which is corner 4, which is just a slight banking, and then there's a long banking onto the pit straight. And because of this, Pirelli, the tyre provider, have been asked to make specific tyres just for this track, just so they can handle the increased loads that happen when the tyres drag along a dipped surface. We don't want a repeat of 2005 in the USA where the Michelin runners couldn't cope with the banked surface of an oval. Also, just a brief bit of history. I don't want to bore you guys too long, but this is where James Hunt won his first race in 1975 for Hesketh Racing. I thought it was Leighton House. It was Hesketh.
Really?
And that actually paved the way in his interview for McLaren to convince them to sign him, and that led to the championship in '76. So history all over this track. It's a classic. It's back. We hope it's back to stay. And it's more like Hungary, this track, isn't it, as opposed to like a high-speed circuit?
Yeah, I'd say it was more like Hungary, to be honest, more than anything. I mean, you've got those... Hungary, you couldn't see it, it's not an overtaken position. It was more like you stick in that one place, and that one time where you are going to be making overtakes, it's got to be on that pitch straight. Let's have a look at the quick table by the looks of things. Boris is still top of the table. Kasabi, followed by Tempo, followed by Jesse Formula. But literally, last week, for the first time, I mean, obviously, me and Matt couldn't obviously commentate. I mean, we do apologise for that. But Boris, last week was the first time he was not on the podium. Now, that is very, very rare, let's face it, for him. He is an absolutely quality driver, especially in those situations where it's all against him. So I can only imagine what went wrong.
He'll be looking to make amends there for sure. It's worth saying though that between Boris and then Basabi, so Boris is on 147 points, Basabi is on 106, and then there is a massive drop off to Tempo now after 3 consecutive did not finishes after his win, is only on 77 points. So Boris still has a commanding lead. Basabi obviously out and to try and close this gap, but it does at the moment look like a 2-horse race for this championship. Let's see if either of those two are out looking to set a lap.
Let's have a look. Boris seems to be out at the moment. By looks of things, he's coming up to the end, probably the end of
sector 1.
End of sector 1, coming into sector 2 now, just before that hairpin onto the second DRS straight. Ooh, bit of a battle going on there.
That could have ended in a
let's have a look. Let's continue with the table pilots because we've also got It Sharky. Now, It Sharky was quality for the past couple of races. Apart from he didn't start in Canada. Now, obviously, I can't understand why. I mean, obviously, I'm sure he had his own personal reasons. But obviously, he probably have missed out quite a bit. He could have probably got into possibly fourth. Yeah, in the championship.
Yeah, he could have moved up. I'm sure he'll be out there today. Right, so Boris is going to now cross the line to set his first flying lap. I'm going to talk you through a lap at Zandvoort. So the first corner, you can brake later than you think, and you want to avoid the curve on the right-hand side, and then use a little bit of the runoff. Hug left, hug right, and then brake a little bit, and let the car drift mid-corner beautifully there. Get it straight, so you can get the hammer down. You're going to carry the speed all the way up here. Now, from here, the track is all about precision. So you have a down to 7th gear here, and then this is now the end of sector 1 coming up. And from here, it's all about just getting your braking zones correct, not locking up and carrying minimum speed. Make this corner a bit wider than the game sometimes likes to, as you can carry some speed on the outside to the second DRS straight. For this corner here, again, braking about 75 metres, you can use quite a lot of that inside curve as Boris locks up, and he actually came back for a second apex there, so he hit an early apex, swiveled mid-corner, got back, and now this is the bank intersection that I mentioned. For the fastest possible route for the line, you don't want to go all the way to the wall. That's for in the race. So what Boris has done there, as he sets a 1:09.1, is hog the inside line like he'd be going in for a pit stop to minimise the distance to the line, as we see week in, week out.
Yeah, Boris showing a 1:09.179. Very good timing. But let's face it, it's a new boy in the hot seat at the moment. It is. And
Anarchy.
Is it Anarchy? Yeah, Anarchy is back, who is representing in the Renault with a 1:08.579. Just over half a second faster than the time before him.
And look, if you can see Basabi also down in 4th, and another newcomer, YT Vero, with a 1:09.0. So it looks like, as Tempo actually goes up into second.
Tempo Tesla in the Ferrari. Now that's a very good time.
Very competitive, and from that championship table, he'll be looking for a good result. He's had 3 DNFs in a row in the last 3 rounds, so he will be desperate to get himself back into form and back into contention. The damage might already have been done though. Boris has been consistent all season.
Let's have a look at the times at the moment. It's Anarchy is back leading and on provisional pole with a 1:08.579. And followed by Tempo, followed by Vero, followed by Boris, Bisabi, Marty FIFA, Tim88, Jerome, Desi, and Critical. Also in the new today, we've also got Morris Case, very new, because I believe he hasn't even started a race, so this will be his first one. Nutella Allen, I believe it is.
So that's 2 new runners in the Alfa Romeos.
You got Bren Boy, followed by Jesse Formule. A new one also in the Renault, another Tempo.
But not Tempo.
368, 350. Yeah, we won't be saying that.
If we can ride on board with Anarchy is back, who's on provisional pole, and he's going to set his second flying lap now, as is Basabi and Saroni as well. So this is interesting. So it's the first time I believe we've actually had a full grid. They're all out there. They're all setting competitive times. Everyone except Temp is in the 1:09s, as Jesse Formule puts in a 1:09.8, and I'm assuming Temp in the Renault would have probably just made a mistake in that lap, as it's nearly 2 whole seconds slower than the next person. So I'm sure that time will be coming down. There's time definitely on the table. Now, it is worth saying with regards to track extending penalties, there aren't too many places where you can do it, and one of them is here on the banking. If you go over the first row of red and white curbing, that will be a track extend warning, free warnings, and you get a 3-second penalty the next time you do it. Another place you can extend the track is on exit of corner 1 here. You want to be extremely careful doing it because that could throw you off there. So there aren't a lot of places because the penalty, if you extend the track, he gets it wrong. It's just a front wing.
Anaki's back is literally just spun it off at the first.
That's the first banked corner on turn 4.
First banked corner, literally on turn 4.
It's okay. It's not.
It is front wing. He's going to have to come out there before he gets.
And Natalan, he's got a 5-place grid penalty for some reason.
What happened there? 5 grid place penalty on that. Just wondering what may have happened. If the FAI could probably give us a message in a minute to find out what happened, that would be absolutely tremendously helpful. Also doing their first laps by looks of things is Torn in the McLaren. You've also got Lightning 66 as well.
Eugene also still not to set a lap. We have seen, until we had to take our forced break, it's Sharky run up quite a lot of pole positions, and he was always backed up by Eugene actually. So the Racing Point lads had made a habit. So it'll be interesting to see why it's Sharky is only in 15th.
Probably, you never know. I mean,
it's a good time still.
Very, very good time still. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it's not on his personal best, but usually he is right up there with the top competitors. So unless we've got some newbies, such as Anarchy is back, obviously with that.
Anarchy is back, has left the session. I wonder if he's retired.
I believe he may have left the session. Maybe a glitch. We're not entirely sure. We'll have to find out on that one. But at the moment, still to come is Lightning 66 with his outlap right now. Torn is doing his right now. Eugene's still in the pit
on an outlap, so let's ride on board with It's Sharky.
Shall we? Yes, we shall.
Has won 2 races this season, and it could have been more. He did get unfortunately caught out by the conditions in Azerbaijan. That incredibly crazy race was something like
bit of a pirouette, but still he saves it.
I think
so that's not going to do hit.
That's not going to do the tyres any good.
No, it ain't.
It
really isn't.
I think they'll still be okay for a lap.
It'll be those back ones.
Where he's had to spin it back in place. But I'm assuming he'll still be able to set. He'll still go for a time on it. I'm assuming.
He's still on an outlap, so we can only see what he's doing.
Oh, we nearly had a Ferrari spinning just ahead of him. It's exactly what I said. You can make that corner wider than the game tells you to. However, I think he just tried to make that a bit too wide, as Anarchy is back in the session. Because I totally was always going to do that joke as soon as I saw his name. So he's joined the session. He's in the pit. Tempo Tesla is also on an outlap as he looks to improve on his 1 minute 8.7. But we will still just see what Sharky does and see if he stays out. I think he's staying out here.
Yeah, he is. He's going full pelt. So we'll stay on board with Sharky as he comes up to turn 1. Now, you've actually told me recently is that best thing to do is probably brake a little bit later than what the actual game actually tells you, and then try and take it sort of wide, but also then try and come back in to get more of a
power down.
More power down. I mean, that gives you at least a couple of attempts, depending on obviously your decent time already.
Look, so the game likes you to brake at about the 50 meter mark. I'm assuming a lot of these guys will have the racing line turned off, as these are in Tier 1. I'm assuming most of them just run no assist and have worked it out. But if you are to drive on this game with the racing line around Zandvoort, it will tell you to brake around the 50 metre mark. I believe you can do it about 10 metres later. It's very hard to judge, but if you brake 10 minutes later and do a little bit of cadence braking, so you're braking while turning, so you need to lift off, as the fastest lap now goes to Tempo. 1 minute 8.4.
That's quality.
Sharky's up into third despite the worn tyres from his spin. So times are coming down as the track grips up. So yeah, you can brake about 10 minutes later, cadence braking. So if you're going to brake 100% and turn, you will lock your tyres up. You will exceed the amount of grip the tyre can give you. If you do cadence braking, where you lift off a little, that will avoid the lockup, and it's a very precise arc, but you avoid the lockup and you come back for a late apex so you can get the power down a little quicker. And that's one of the few places really where your lap time is going to be found in the first sector. It's through the first corner and then on exit of the banking as Basabi's about to go through here. So on exit of the banking here, as he locks up a little, this is where a lot of time's found.
Well, so far, so good at the moment when it comes to qualifying. I mean, yes, fair enough, Sandboard is a very tricky track, especially with tracks of the fact that you can constantly on and off. Many areas where you can literally basically do a pirouette at this point with the at this pace, especially with qualifying. I mean, so far, I don't know whether or not it's just due to experience, but obviously so far we've got a lot more drivers on the circuit than we did in Tier 2. Tier 2 was pouring it down with rain. Understandable. I mean, rain can obviously change conditions left, right, and centre for any track. But for this, I think it was for this particular track though, for Tier 2, I think it was at least Basabi and Lucky Man. I think that's going to be delayed your time there, mate. Yeah, he's going to come in. I believe I think it was around about 7 people actually crashed out on Tier 2. I
mean, the game, and I found this on Vietnam, the new tracks feel a lot more slidey than the, like, for example, when you get rain around Azerbaijan, I don't think that's as hard to drive as rain around Vietnam or Zandvoort. And a lot of people, especially YouTubers, have said newer tracks often, like, they remember when France was added in 2018. That felt quite slidey. So it could just be the fact that it's not quite there yet. You know, they've had to incorporate it into the game, but there's still certain things that they need to, you know, code in and change. But having said that, driving in the wet is always going to be difficult, especially with your banking, especially the amount of slow speed corners because of the traction problem, because of the high curbs, and because it's a slippy circuit, and that's I don't really know why it feels slippier. As Tempo is on an outlap, as is YT Vero, Tao.
I think we're going to get Tun. I think we're saying Tun. Because it's not Tun.
No,
I was about to say, it's not from the Tun. Tun.
Saroni, Bremboy. So everyone in the next 2.5 minutes will look to set one more lap, and that will decide our starting order.
So far, it is Tempo, followed by Anarchy is back, and Boorish is up there. It's Sharky up in 4th, and Vero to 5th. Wasabi, who I believe is second in the championship at the moment. Yes, second in the championship, is running 6th. Now, I'm expecting good things with Wasabi. Wasabi is actually always putting a decent set of lap times, as well as race results.
He's been as one of the more consistent. He's only been outshone so far by Boorish, who until last week could finish on the podium. Even so, last week he finished 4th. So,
Brenboy has retired from the session. We do not know if he's crashed out, but I believe actually that was Brenboy right now when Tempo just went past. I believe
Tempo just got his rears onto the grass around the first part of the banking there. Yeah. That would explain why he just had a little slide on exit. And that's it. This is why circuits like this are so great in F1, is because you've got instant punishment if you push the limits. No runoff area to swivel your car around in. You go off, you're in the grass. Even if you survive the spin, your tyres are burnt and mucky. So these old school circuits, I'm all for. I'm all for this. I'm all for Mugello. Anything where your track limits are defined That's
Ooh,
probably
that's
just
probably
on the
gonna
limit. I don't quite know.
see.
Ooh.
Oh, he hits the barrier and he goes straight into the pit lane.
That was.
I think he maybe has to be happy with that.
Yeah.
Desi is retired. Let's see
got
what's
enough time to
happening.
do another lap.
I don't think a lot of people have enough. We're
We
going to
could
run
get
on
to
with. We're going to run on with Anarchy is back because he's coming up to that bank corner just before the pit straight with literally 30 seconds, or less than 30 seconds to go with this qualifying.
So this is on a time lap.
It is a time lap. Can he go any faster?
He can.
Oh!
Borish now. Borish is
Wow.
on an 8 lap, so at the moment Tempo's on provisional pole. The new boy can't set it on pole in his first lap.
3,000th of a second. It is that close. Seriously.
Get on with Borish.
We're going to go on with Boris. He's warming his tyres up just before he comes up to the bank corner up to turn
he
one.
run out of time?
Byron has also retired.
I think Borish should run out of time to set a lap here.
He has. He has actually.
How strange. What's going on?
Yeah, we have. Ooh, I don't know.
So Tempo's going to be on pole because a lot of the field. I think Sharky maybe made it. Sharky's on a push lap. But
Yeah,
Borish
Sharky
has run
is
out
going
of
for
time.
him.
Oh, that's going to cost him some time. There was a McLaren right in his way there. That's
We'll
not what you want.
We'll see what's going on. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with the times at the moment. Tempo's obviously retired from the. He's happy with his time. Anarchy is back. Unfortunately, misses out just. Unless he goes for another one. Boris at the moment, not entirely sure what's going on with that. Cause I believe that may be glitched out because he.
I don't think he left himself enough time.
I don't think he did either. It's Sharky at the moment, coming around the bank corner up to turn one. So, coming up onto the straight now. Coming up to turn one. What can he provide? Can he go faster?
He's left it off.
Yeah, he's left it. He's had to back
backed
off.
I think he just went over the limits there. So Tempo's going to be on pole with a front row on his first race of Anarchy is back. Boris started third. It's Sharky in fourth. All of this. Where's Basabi? Basabi's dropped out of the top 10.
Tim AA's gone up to 8th.
And he's got a Tim in front of him as well.
He has got. You got. Yeah, I know there's two now, isn't there? Stocko Saints coming up now. What can he provide? He's currently in 13th. Can he get into the top 10? No, he had to back out, I think, there.
Yeah.
Right, I believe that is our lineup. It is Tempo on pole with Anarchy is back, our newcomer, followed by Boris, the championship leader, followed by Sharky, followed by Jesse Formulae.
Well, that was certainly a strange kind of qualifying.
Very strange.
I don't think Basabi left himself enough time to get out of the pits. But look, the front three all in the same 100th of a second of each other.
Them two,
it's very close. That's the closest qualifying I've seen since we've been doing the commentating, all the way down to 14th until we're out the second.
Literally, I think one point where it gets second is 18th.
Obviously, it says here Nuttall Allen.
We'll find out what actually happened with that. Let's go with it. So, incidents regarding to it. Let's have a look.
Can't see it.
Corner cut. Corner
no,
cutting.
That's Anarchy's back.
So, and that's Anarchy's back. So, where is? Tell it. Collision.
Right. Okay.
That is reason why he gets a penalty because he had a collision with our fifth runner, Jesse Formulae.
Okay. Easily done. You've got to make sure you're moving for people.
Yeah, we just had a Bush was on a lap, but I think it was just a glitch. Anyway,
right.
It is now the actual race, the Grand Prix. I mean, we had a bit of rain. We had a lot of rain actually in the Tier 2. Can we be expecting the one in Tier 1 as well?
I get a lot of rain when I play Zandvoort on career mode. Pretty much every time I've raced there, the game loves to give you rain on this circuit. So let's find out. It's Holland, a very similar climate to where we are in the UK. We get a lot of rain in the UK. It's raining now. Well, it was anyway. Probably stopped now, actually.
No, it's still raining.
Still raining. We're due snow in a few days as well.
Oh yeah, very due.
Which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I will not rule rain out unless we race at Abu Dhabi on this game, Bahrain, somewhere in a desert. But we get ready now for the formation lap. My favourite thing, if you're playing commentator bingo, is this is the most important lap of the race here. As we can see, the top 10 front runners starting on their soft. The Sabi doing a hard to soft strategy, I'd assume, as is Morris Pace. So we've got actually a nice mix here of tyre strategy, which could really, if there's a safety car and one of those hard runners are benefited, we've got so many different strategy options here.
It will be very interesting to see what goes on. I mean, you got Natalan, I think it is, with on medium. I believe he is going to be doing a much longer stint. Remember, track position on this is so key, especially the fact that you've only got one overtaking opportunity, and that is, of course, on the pit track. There is our pit stop strategy.
I would ignore that. Why would you do 4 laps on a soft? This game never. So it wants you to do 10 laps on the soft and then 4 laps on the soft.
That's our two-stop strategy, and then going I believe it was the mediums, wasn't it? Or the hards?
I would assume. I would not purposely do a 2-stop on this unless there's a safety car. You're not going to get any advantage out of that because there is the one disqualified, so he's just going to line up on the grid.
And so is Vero. Vero's also disqualified. So them two are going to be cold. So they are more than likely probably just bumped into each other.
Yeah.
So we can only see how we go as the cars are lining up onto the grid for the Dutch Grand Prix here at Zandvoort.
Zandvoort.
Is it Zandvoort?
Z-A-N-V-O-O-R-T.
Yes. Why did I say Zandvoort? Zandvoort, yes.
Your favourite corner, I'm sure.
Really my favourite corner. Well, we'll see anyway. Anyway, the grid is all lined up. It is the Dutch Grand Prix. We're here in Holland. It's lights out! There's a pause. Oh God, that was long.
That was long, but look, that's a really good start from Ferrari. There was absolutely no wheel spin there. You saw a lot of cars kicking up smoke from the start. It's Sharky's made up a place over Boris.
Pilot at the back. 64-8 is out on the Grand Prix. He's crashed out.
That's going to be virtual safety car.
Virtual safety car. Someone's wing's been broken off.
There's front wings everywhere.
Renboy's gone down to 19th. Crusoe's gone down to 18th. Lightning 66 hasn't done well. Nutella Allen has gone up to 16th.
Oh, looks like there's been a collision there.
Another collision. Morris Pace has been given
and Nutella. Oh, there's a lot.
Oh my word! What is going on at the back? This is absolutely unreal. I mean,
there's a lot of penalties that are going to be handed out now. Oh my word! What is going on with the 2 Alfa Romeos? What is this guy doing? He's just ramming people everywhere.
Oh wow! Wait, no, I'm sorry. The FIA need to see that. I mean,
he's knocked 3 people off.
Nutella has literally on our screen right now just pushed off on purpose to Morris Pace. He's just shoved him out of the way.
He's done that to a couple of cars now. I don't really understand what's happening.
And he's just cut a corner there. What's he?
He's still racing. Well, at least it looked like he was. I really don't understand that, and I hope he hasn't just joined up for the sake of doing something.
Well, anyway,
like
we're
that.
back underway. Anyway, the virtual safety car is back in. Tempo, obviously, with the fastest lap. 1966 has a 10-second time penalty, as well as Morris Pace. A lot of people are now going to be coming in now. This is... That was I've not seen that before. That is not seen before.
One of the most silliest starts I've seen since we've been commentating for these guys. It looked like, I don't know who instigated it, there was a big pile-up at the back, and then everyone got himself into a pickle under the virtual safety car. That's going to change everything. And actually, the people to benefit are, for example, Tem, who I think he's still got a survey penalty, but
I believe it's a 5-second time penalty. Yes, it's a 5-second time penalty that he has. I mean, I'm lost for words. I mean, what I just saw at the back was ridiculous. And then to top it up, to put the cherry on top of the cake, you then had Nutella pushing into Morris Pace, his teammate.
Well, I hope this Natalan, whatever his name is, hasn't just joined up just to do something like that.
Definitely
because
not, I'm hoping.
That wasn't sensible. But we're going to get on with the racing as It's Sharky jumped Borish from the start and is up into third, and Borish is chasing him down. These are two of the best drivers that we've got here, and two that are well worth watching if they're going to battle with 204. The new second McLaren driver, just backing him up.
Definitely. Tempo, obviously, literally just trying to push it, see if we can break that second barrier to try and get out of that DRS zone. It will be enabled at this lap, so he will be he'll be under the cosh going into the pit straight.
Yeah. Or will there be? Yeah, no, there will, because it was only a virtual safety car.
It was only a virtual safety car.
Alright, okay, so It's Sharky hovering that gap at about the 1 second mark. As is Anarchy. It's going to be nip and tuck as to whether that will be
Tempo, that'll be a track there.
He's pushed, and he's lost time as well doing that. He comes off wide. Is he just... I'm not too sure what that racing line was. Maybe to break the toe, I don't know. I think he was going to set the fastest lap there, and I think he tracked that lap as a qualifying lap.
That's probably a wise decision, to be honest. Let's face it, at the start of the race, all the times are going to be plummeting now. So you never know. That's probably a decent
you often find that. I think there's already some cars that are ready to be lapped.
Gonna be riding on with the closest at the moment, which is Stocko Saints going on with a Eugene, I believe. Yes. Oh no, Saromi actually.
Yeah.
Saromi and Stocko Saints, them two are close together. Look at that on Saromi.
Easily done. You'll see most of these people here running anti-lock brakes. I actually saw a test on YouTube with regards to someone who doesn't run anti-lock brakes going into a braking zone will lose nearly 0.2 of a second in that braking zone. So these guys will look to milk everything out of the car they can to keep up with the other strong competitors. But the trade-off is they might lock the tyre, that might increase the tyre wear, and then that might make them slower down the line.
By the looks of things, it's quite close between our top two. Tempo Tesla and Anarchy is back. Sharky is 2.5 seconds behind the two up in front, with Boris chasing him down.
Shall we get onto that?
We will actually.
Championship leader and all, chasing down.
Critical has, sorry fighting that, Matt. Critical has retired. We can only imagine what happened there.
Sharky just got onto the grass there around the section. And that would have lost precious time and also a lack of grip. As we can see, he just drifts wide there. That will be down to the dirt on the tyre.
Gone down to up to half a second now. I believe it's Sharky's probably worked in his favours a little bit because he seems to be gaining quite a bit of time each time, to be honest.
Well, we can see here Boris still within DRS range. Going to be very difficult to get any benefit from DRS there. DRS only benefits you once you get into your 8th gear and top end speed. That's where you get the extra 20 kilometers per hour. While these cars accelerate, you've got to wait until they max out speed, and that's why overtaking is going to be difficult.
That is Tuntum. He's managed to save it though.
And Boris has managed to overtake Sharky.
It has happened. Everything going off all once in the first couple of laps.
Easy mistakes to make there.
Has literally, what he must have done is obviously his back end kicked out, tried to correct it, overcorrect it, and then pumped it into the wall. But managed to save it. The tyres seemed to be okay. So he just quickly came in. Yeah. Luckily enough, it was just right in front of the pit.
And he's made the decision to go onto the hard. So I'm assuming he's going to try and see out 31 laps on those hard tyres.
It's going to be difficult.
It's going to be
very
difficult,
difficult.
but it's not the most tyre wary of tracks. This battle between Sharky and Borish is preventing them from cracking on into the top two. The whole time they battle, the top two will be getting away as
Eugene has
retired.
Eugene has retired. What has happened here? We'll see if we can go
I
on.
think he's
with
whammed this
Tim.
curb. I think
He's
whammed
rammed it
that
right
curb.
there, right in front of, and it's another virtual safety car.
So the difference between the full safety car and the virtual safety car was brought in on those occasions where the incident isn't required for you to bring out the full safety car, and it has a lot to do with the Jules Bianchi accident where the drivers were still driving under double yellow and it caused obviously a horrible accident. This forces the drivers to lower their speed heavily and follow a required delta. If they exceed that over the average of the safety car period, the virtual safety car period,
Sharky's got a drive-through penalty.
that's exactly what will happen. Exactly what I was building up to. If you overdo the delta, which is done on an average, so it averages out for the entire time. If you overdo that, boom, that's it. There's a penalty there, and that Sharky might come to regret that one actually.
Shirome, by looks things, is trying to gain on Team 88 and the Ferrari. We'll see what goes on with there. I mean, Shirome could end up right behind Team 88 on the pitch straight actually after the banking circuit, because obviously he'll get in the slipstream, he'll have DRS, and he'll hopefully have ERS as well. We're going to ride on board. What's he got? Team 88 is coming in, so he'll be going in straight away. So Shirome will be trying to put it in as fast as he can, as he has locked up right there.
That was a big one.
Very big one. It's Anarchy. It's Anarchy. His spun. He's kept it though. He's kept it. He has kept it though.
Really good correction. It wasn't an overcorrection. It was exactly what he needed to do in reaction.
He's cut the grass there.
Yeah, that's not going to help you with your getting your tyres scrubbed up, fella.
Sharky's going to be coming for him now.
Sharky is still 2.8 seconds behind.
He's literally just behind him though. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Well, he is.
2.8 seconds.
It's going down by. It was going down by a tenth of a turn.
Yeah, Anarchy is back to racing speed now, so it was a loss of about half a second. It wasn't that major of a spin. It was a break of traction, and the rear tried to do a swapper. And what you have to do there is come to about half throttle, and what's a DT mean?
I think it's a drive-through penalty, which Sharky is actually going to be put in right now.
Well, that's because of the amount of cars behind him. Is going to cost him quite a few positions. Natalan, I think will just about hop in as well. Yes, roughly.
Yes, he will. To be honest, I'm still flabbergasted by what Natalia Allen actually did in the opening lap. That needs to be questioned.
I want to see what the stewards say about that. Having said that, he's carried on with the race. There have been no other silly incidents since. I hope it was a misunderstanding, an accident. I hope it wasn't in reaction to something. But it did, from our camera here, look very, very silly. As Sharky is right on his tail, and you can see Natalia very slow mid-ape. You do not want to get on that curb. You do not want to get on that curb as the unloaded tyre breaks traction.
Sharky was right up.
Well, I said we wouldn't see a lot of overtakes into that corner, and they're
going by side by side.
He got too thirsty on the throttle, and the back end kicked out. It's so easily done there. So it's Sharky making up a place as Shirome comes into the pits. Now, it's Sharky put on another set of soft tyres. So I think he's trying to close the gap up a little before doing another pit stop.
Let's have a look. I mean, you've got tempo. You've still got literally all those chaps literally in the top 5, as well as Team 88 in 7th, still on the softs.
Nearly cut the white line. This track really on the game because it doesn't eat tyres as much as other tracks. So I think you can actually get probably between 10 to 16 laps out of the softs if you really know what you're doing. I don't see that they won't be as potent, as Anarchy brings that gap down to tempo quite a lot, actually, from when we looked.
I believe it was 1.8 to literally now 1.3.
So
Tempo
maybe Tempo made a bit of a mistake around the slow section, and that's easily done. One thing I will say, though, is Tempo could really use this win, especially with Basabi at the moment still outside the top 10.
Now, the open for the hard section for the strategy is now in. Now, it will be interesting to see who breaks first, because obviously this is a track position, as Bremboy now gets 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That'll be extending tracks.
That's exactly what it'll be. I don't know how many people will be hopping in straight away into the pit lane. It'll be interesting to see. As Natal Allen has left the session, I don't know whether that's a glitch. We will find out.
It may be a glitch. As Lightning 66 is also retired. I've only just seen that.
Yeah.
Safety car is in.
So I'm assuming there must have been an accident somewhere. Lightning 66, 7 laps old on his hard tyres. Wonder if he spun out somewhere or clattered somewhere. But that's a full safety car. I would probably come in now then.
Yeah, for Tempo and Anarchy is back, especially as well as Borish, Socko Saints, and it's Sharky. It'll be interesting to see what Natal Allen actually does, to be honest.
Well, let's see if he's even still in the game, because it did just say...
I believe that may be just glitch. You never know.
Right, okay. Because his gap has remained suspiciously 1.001 second to that exact decibel, and that's very unlikely to happen.
As Tempo comes in... I'm guessing he clearly didn't like that sign. Anarchy is back now. He comes in. He's going on to the mediums, as well as Tempo. Borish, he comes in. He's going on the mediums. Stocko Saints, he's going on the hards.
Okay, fair enough. I do think that with this safety car, if it's going to be out for, because it's such a short circuit, it could be out for 3 to 5 laps, maybe going on to the mediums. I'm guessing the front runners will be thinking, well, that's 3 to 5 laps where I'm not pushing hard on these tyres, and it can extend the lifespan of the tyre.
Sharky has gone on to hard, so has Natal Allen has gone on to hard. Same as Tim at 88. Bremboy's gone on to mediums. VT Vero, he's stayed out on those hards onto 9 laps old.
Yeah. So I guess he'll be gambling on another safety car. Desi just changed the tyres, so he's really... I feel, it's a bit of a disadvantage, really, that he's on 4-lap old tyres where everyone else around him is on fresh tyres. But these things happen, and it's how you react to these safety cars coming out that we've seen, for example, in Azerbaijan, where Sharky didn't come in to make a change to wet weather tyres, and that 1 lap cost him 10 places. It's these kind of on-the-move decisions that these guys got to make. Is Desi a severe collision with Stocko Saints? That'll mean that they've tapped under safety car.
Yeah, that would be 5 seconds. The penalties seem to be going away. I mean, first lap, obviously, everyone will be serving it by now. Let's face it. Let's have a look on what the penalties are still going on. We've got a Bremboy with a 3-second time penalty.
That's the track extended.
That'll be track extended. Desi, that would have only just been served. That would have only just been dished out right now, which would have been the collision with Stocko Saints.
I'm assuming Desi might that would just be added at the end of the race, as I can't imagine him doing another pit stop now.
Definitely. Obviously, I believe if we are correct, I think the safety car could possibly come in now, unless people are going to be doing one more.
Lap. So yeah, I'd assume.
It'll come in this lap, I believe.
That's fine. So what we'll be doing now, for those of you who are new to Formula One, when the safety car comes in, it's the person in first place who pretty much for the third and final sector becomes the safety car, and it will be their job to pace the field until the safety car comes into the pit lane, of which time it is their decision when to get back up to race speed. No overtaking until you cross the start-finish line, which is about a quarter of the way down the straight after the banking. So I'm pretty sure everyone's made their pit stop and their 1 required tyre change. I can't imagine there being much more pit stop action unless someone's lost a front nose, unless there's another safety car. It's Tempo. Nearly span it under safety car. He nearly did a George Russell there. And well held there because the rear did step out. He's very close behind the safety car as well. So he'll be about to pace the field.
Safety car is in this lap. Now, it will be interesting to see what happens now. I mean, we've had a couple of incidents over the past couple of races where there are incidents on the restart after safety car.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want.
It's definitely harder the further back, as you can see them all piling through that corner. It's definitely harder the further back you are, as Desi gets another 5-second penalty.
Saints again.
Stocko Saints has got a penalty as well. Natal Allen's left the session, I guess that's
That'll be a glitch.
We've also got Toon and Temp with 5-second penalties.
Tim 88 with one as well.
He's just dipped his tyre there as he's gone into the grass and the mud there. I don't think that's going to cost him a position unless
Torn A8 has retired.
I wonder if he's just planted it into the wall on restart there.
Yellow flag at the moment. We'll have to see what's going on.
Yeah, yellow flag sector 3. I'm assuming he's planted it into the wall as the rear steps out through the banked corner onto the pit straight. So Basabi makes up a place. He's now back into 11th where he started, but there were no real big winners or losers from that safety car restart other than those guys, as we can see now, that have had penalties for having a little tap while they waited.
I will say though, Vero is still on the same tyres from 11 laps ago. He could be losing out here possibly.
Absolutely.
Unless he's seen unless there's enough safety car, at which point then he will go for it. Or there is some weather that we are not aware of yet.
There could be. Either way, he had to make an early stop. He took a risk. It's not impossible to make that hards last quite a long way into this race, but you know, he is going to be slower than pretty much the rest of the field now. But that's just the way things go. He didn't know 11 laps ago that there was going to be a safety car. None of us did, as we are now down our first 5 runners. So the first race where we've had a full 20 driver grid, we are now down to 15.
Well, I mean, who could have predicted these first 15 laps, let's face it, especially that first one. But we are back obviously underway with literally Aniki's back, trying to close that gap on a tempo. Remember, the DRS is not activated until another 2 laps after this lap, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason being is that the reason that they delay DRS for 3 laps is purely to try and space out the field a little bit, to try and avoid DRS, the whole field being a DRS train. They try and make a gap over 3 laps. As we can see here now, for example, Borish hovering about a second behind Anarchy is back, who's still on the tail of tempo. He sets the fastest lap, 1 minute 11.6.
And he did that on the medium.
That reason being is, one, the car gets lighter as the race goes on, as fuel wears off. Also, the softs you start on are the softs you qualified your fastest time on, so they're already worn in a bit. So the car gets lighter, and also these are the first actual brand new tyres that they've had on during the race. So you will actually see the lap times come down, as these are pretty much, you know, prime tyres.
Let's have a look at the nearest battle, shall we? The nearest battle, by the looks of it, is Bremboy and Tim 88, the Haas versus Ferrari. Now, what can we expect from this one?
I can expect it to be very difficult if you want to get an overtake done. Having said that, there's a couple of different lines going through there, which I've kind of alluded to, with some drivers trying to make it wide. Big lock-up from the Williams there.
I think that'd be right, yeah.
I think, you know, he's on the hard tyres, I think. 13-lap-old hards. It shouldn't be locking up shouldn't be too much of a problem, but that has actually allowed Tim to get right onto his gearbox now, and DRS will now be activated as of this lap.
Anarchy is back. Actually just set the fastest lap right there, and must have got the toe from Tempo Tezza, getting in his little strip.
A little bit of toe through, especially, you know, at the start of the lap. That's a good lap there. is only 3 tenths away, so I think we should probably ride on board with him, as that is
I think
for
we
the
shall.
lead, this battle. And I think this is the battle that everyone wants to see. We like to see battling for the lead. We don't get a lot of it in real F1, but boy, do you get a lot of it in this racing league.
It is definitely one to watch. I mean, who is going to be taking that extra bit of oomph into those corners? Can they be a bit more of a gamble? That a lot of curve there by Anarchy is back. He's going to be using the slipstream from Tempo Tezza as we go into the spank corner, coming onto the pitch straight. Oh no! He's gone! He's back! He's gone! Virtual safety car is now out. Bush is now going up to second, followed by Stocko Saints, followed by Desi, followed by Shiromi. Oh, Anarchy is back. You drove a lovely, lovely set of 17 laps there, mate. Unfortunately, you bit it. I'm sorry, mate. Sorry to hear it, mate.
Wanted a bit too much
He
throttle.
did. Unfortunately, he did. Virtual safety car is out.
It also got a lot of curbing.
Shiromi is in.
He's taking this opportunity to get
the wing. That's the reason why I think that's the best chance for me.
And he's going on to the mediums as well to try and get as much as he can out of that. So, look, these things happen around Zandvoort, and as I said, there is instant punishment when things go wrong.
Let's have a look at the penalties. It's Desi. 10 seconds. Stocko Saints has 5. Vera has 5. Tim 88 has 5. Brenboy has 3. And Temp, not Tempo, Temp has 3.
Right. Well, I mean, it looks like Sharky has a bit of an outside chance of a podium. He's got quite a bit of work to do. But after that earlier error that he made, and having to get the drive-through penalty, he's slowly gone about his business and worked his way back up to 5th by keeping his nose clean.
That has probably come to point of our favourite term, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Morris Pace in the Alfa Romeo, right up behind New Boy 10. Now he's going to have slipstream. He's got the DRS.
This is going to be very, very tight.
Oh, but on grass, we'll see who takes it.
I like it.
Round the outside by Morris Pace, and he takes it.
That's nice.
That's very well done by Morris Pace. It's been a massive lock-up.
A lot of locking up onto that bank corner, and that's because I think you need to only really dab the brakes and let the banking and while you go down the gears, let the engine brake in, really get you slowed down there. You can't be braking hard while turning the corner. You will lock up, you will exceed the amount of available grip. As we see into this hairpin here, onto the second DRS straight, you see a number of different lines being taken by the drivers. That's a great example there. Temp made it wide, Marty actually made it a tighter corner, and that's going to benefit him under DRS. And that's quite a simple overtake there.
Lovely overtake there by Martin FIFA, doing the AlphaTauri team justice right there with Wasabi as well.
We could go to Tim 88.
We will go with Tim 88, who has got Vero right up behind him, and
this should be an easy overtake.
This should be an easy overtake. Ooh. Side by side. Oh, Vero locks up.
Oh, their tyres
are rubbing.
Vero's going to come back.
Vero has come back. He's taken that position back.
Another
lock up. Seriously, Vero, that's
Vero is struggling around the banking on turn 4 there. It is a difficult section to get right. For all we know, he could be new to getting the anti-lock brakes turned off as well. It does take a little bit of time to work out how to do that, especially when you've got a broken turn.
At the moment, we are going to stick on with this very close between Tim 88 and Vero, with also Brenboy trying to knock on the door with Wasabi behind Brenboy.
So this is a battle. Everyone's inside the points. Who wants more points more? Now, I would say Wasabi needs to get himself up there, because Anarchy's back's mistake has gifted Bora second place here, which is going to make him score quite a lot more points than Wasabi at the moment and extend that championship lead.
Who is this
Vero.
It is
17 lap old hards there. These do need changing.
He's going straight onto the mediums.
So, unfortunately, as Temp gets the penalty for speeding in the pit lane, he's on 9 lap old mediums. He's going on to the hards. until the end now. So we're seeing there these guys are the ones that really lost out because of the safety car. And we'll just stick on with this battle for 6th place.
I believe it is, 6th place. At the moment, you've got Tim at 88, followed by Basabi, followed by Morris. Morris is only just behind, though. I believe it will be for 6th place. Tim 88, Renboy, and Basabi.
Yeah. So, look, it's so hard to overtake, especially when you get a DRS train like this around Zandvoort. I think we will see it if we do get the Dutch Grand Prix in real life this year, because of the kind of cars they are. This year, it might be a bit of a tight and slow to build race, but because of the new aero regulation changes that are coming in, I think as soon as the new cars come out, tighter tracks like this will be back as more popular, because you will be able to get up close. That's a huge lockup, and that almost forced Ramboy onto that curb on the right-hand side, which you do not want to touch no matter what. It's locking up, everyone's locking up into turn 4. I can't tell you how difficult that corner is.
I'm just wondering, actually, with ride on with Teme, no damage done to Brandboy.
It was
a little love tap, but not enough to actually do any damage. So that could be lovely bit of luck there.
See, all these corners that, like I was saying, you need to do a bit of cadence braking into turn 1. And as the tyres wear, so does your ability to do this cadence braking. When I think of difficult corners to turn and brake, I also think of, for example, Bahrain's 9 and 10, going downhill into the hairpin. But you've got to keep winding the lock on. You've also got to do a little bit of cadence braking, and the older your tyres are, the harder that's going to get.
This though, Desi is actually coming up right behind Stocko Saints. Ain't going to do much unless he goes on the inside. No, he's going to have to wait. He did think about it. Don't think he had that extra bit of stretch. As we have a yellow in second. It's Sharky.
Oh no, Sharky!
What has happened?
He's still going. He's still going. He's touched. I know exactly what's happened. He's touched his unloaded tyre, so the right-hand side in this instance. He's touched it onto the curb at turn 1. And that instantly breaks. Oh my word.
Shiromi behind him as well.
We're seeing more and more lockups into turn 4 as the tyres get older. So I know exactly what's happened there. It's easily done. This is really good overtake.
Not really, because it's Sharky. As you can see, that end plate is gone. So he's gonna be a little bit more jittery on that. On the turns.
Yeah.
Now the question is he going to be going straight into the pits, or is he just going to race it all out?
I think with that level of damage, I would come in.
You come in?
I would come in.
We'll see what he will do. Let's ride upon the closest at the moment, which is Basabi and Brandboy. Basabi is right behind him. DRS is open as well as the ERS. Not enough though. He's going to have to wait probably another lap and try and get closer.
It's trying to stick with them, and this is one of these circuits where you really laser in on your opponent's braking points. I have a lot of fun trying to make an overtake on this circuit because of its difficulty. When you do pull it off, it feels good.
You've got Desi now behind Stocko Saints, looking for that podium place and for 3rd. Stocko Saints at the moment in the championship stands as 8th, with Desi not really doing too badly, just behind It's Sharky in 6th place in the championship. These two will be battling out for the podium.
That's it, and I think Desi's actually got quite a few penalties. So
I will say this though, It's Sharky's just come in to change his tyre, but look what tyre he's gone on. He's gone on the softs.
He can pull out 12 laps on the softs, no problem whatsoever. Those last 2 laps will be difficult, but he should be able to pull that off in these last 12 laps. No problem whatsoever. That's about 15 minutes. About 12 laps here. It is a very short circuit, almost under 1 minute and 10. Definitely in qualifying, in the race. We'll see, but I'd say Sharky has a great chance of stealing fastest lap if he can break into the top 10.
It could very well
He's got a lot of work to do.
Very lot of work to do, but we'll see what he can do. He is a man of miracles, let's face it, It's Sharky, but he can get the job done. We're still on board with Desi and Stocko Saints. Very, very tight between these two. As we've actually got Marty FIFA and Morris Pace right, but starting right behind each other. Seriously, all bit of a on the grass with Mighty FIFA. See what they can do at the end of sector 1. Now coming up to the hairpin just before the DRS zone, very short DRS zone.
Lock up.
Massive lock
We're
up there.
seeing it a lot, and that's because the amount of corners that you need to, as I keep saying, turning and braking don't go hand in hand in these cars. So you really start to admire the skill that these guys have when they make a lock.
Wasabi and Renboy. Oh, Wasabi had to yield there with Renboy.
Wasabi's really gone about his business quietly from 11th to 7th, and he's going to have a good chance of making an overtake here. In fact, I think
it's going to be easy.
Although the medium tyres will benefit Renboy around the corners, but I think the overtake was done by that time. They got done. There. Excellent. Well, that's Wasabi second in the championship.
Oh, there was a yellow flag. Not sure what happened there, but
we'll let you know. It didn't look like anyone lost.
No one's lost out there by the looks of things. It's Sharky. He's now gone from 10 seconds down to literally just over 6 behind 10. Now he is definitely looking into putting the fastest lap, as he does put the fastest lap. A 1 minute 11.193. Very, very fast.
But he's only going to get that point if he gets into the top 10, and that's important to note.
Morris and Marty apparently have collided. That was why apparently the yellow flag came out.
Right, okay. Yeah, Morris did drop back from this battle a little. He was quite close to this battle, and he has dropped back, but he is regaining. So we've had a collision there, and that comes from the stewards.
Desi and Stocko Saints. These two have been going at it constantly. Not a lot of ERS though from Desi. He's going to need to have a recovery lap. Oh, he's managed to keep it.
Turning with the rear.
The only way he's going to be able to keep it going is if Stocko Saints keeps on making lockups, or the fact that he will be getting in the slipstream. Desi will be. But the thing is, he needs that ERS as much as possibly can.
The positive is there's plenty of places around this track where you can recharge it, but he's not going to get a lot of that. You know, you're talking maybe getting 7 or 8% back a lap, and I know what it's like to drive in these races, and unfortunately 7 or 8% back a lap is not enough, and you're going to want to keep using it on corner exit. There's nothing worse than seeing your opponent, like we're seeing now, Desi. The opponent is desperately close, and with yellow, it's 10th.
I believe it is 10th. See what happens going on? I think he seemed to be fine.
Maybe he had a little bit of a moment, but he looks fine.
Yes, he's lost out to Martin FIFA. Another yellow flag. Sharky is DNF'd. What has happened here? Okay, virtual safety car is out. It seems to be before. Let's have a look. Can we see him?
Spun it on exit here.
Let's have a look.
Bottom dollar.
Where is he? Where is it? Sharky? We haven't seen him yet.
In fact, no. This guy was quite a long way back, so we might be waiting a little while to find out. Maybe he's hit a curb, spun out, and we'll find out. No, his car would have been cleared from the track.
His car would have been cleared by now, yes.
Right, so it's Sharky, who'd been building momentum in the championship, is out, and we're down to just 13 runners. As always in sim racing, they are usually races of attrition, as Borish laps and the Talon there.
You've also got Vero, who's actually just picked up a drive-through penalty for going in the VSC.
Sharky ran into the back of Temp and crashed into the wall. Right.
Okay. Interesting.
Fair enough. So probably maybe going for an overtake. He had the tyre advantage, a heavy tyre advantage, fresh softs to 6-lap-old mediums, and mistakes were made.
We'll say this though, Marty, look at him. He pitted in for replacing that wing. He's now gone on to softs. Now he is.
He has a big chance of nicking fastest lap. And Whitey Vero, I believe, we do need to do a penalty check because there's quite a lot of penalties, especially 3rd and 4th and 5th. So if we can get a penalty check, that'd be lovely.
Penalty check in a moment. Stockton Saints with 5. Desi with 10. Tim 88 is still in the running for a by looks of
It's
things,
going to be difficult for him to get the
it's
podium.
very difficult for him to get the podium.
Marty FIFA,
Marty FIFA
fastest
with
lap.
fastest lap right now.
Not by much. That's by about 2,000 of a second on the last lap. Oh my!
What was that? Vasabi gone! I think I just saw that. Vasabi was literally he's catapulted in the air.
He's catapulted and he's ran so wide here. He ran wide on the exit into sector 2 on this curve here. Must have maybe understeered onto the grass. But that was a big shun. And that's second place in the championship. Ow! This really is going to be a key race when it comes to the championship, with Borish now scoring points. Only Tempo, who dropped away in third place, scoring more than him. This is huge. Borish nearly binned it.
Up again.
It's so easily done into that corner. It's so difficult to drive this track with anti-lock brakes.
Well, in that case now, at the moment, Marty FIFA, obviously, like I said, he was on the softs, he got the fastest lap. He is now in the points. He will then now get that extra point.
Exactly. I did exactly what he would have done, especially he would have seen Vero get the penalty on his screen.
Thing is, Marty FIFA can actually still get more. There's another yellow flag in sector 3. Now, what's happened here? No, he's. Oh, I don't know. I generally don't know what's going on.
We've got a Renault Temp coming in, and he ain't got a penalty, so maybe he's got damage. I can't see a front wing there. I think he's got a. Is it? Yeah, it's a front wing change, isn't it?
No.
Yeah, look. Oh, he's got a penalty, and then look.
Yeah, they're changing the front wing. He's got. He had to do a 5-second time penalty, which he's done. He's now on to 3. And like I said, anyway, sorry. As I was saying, Marty FIFA, he's now got the chance to actually get more points, because remember, Vero's got a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, no, he made a very clever decision there. Must have been very quick on the spot as well to react, and really that extra point is beneficial for him.
We'll ride on with the closest battle at the moment, which is Brenboy and
Morris Pace.
Yes.
No, the guy in front of him has been lapped.
Yeah, he's been lapped.
And he's actually not in the lobby, because you can see on the screen there he's ghosted. Marty FIFA
has gone overtake Vero as he does take his drive-through penalty now.
So I'm assuming, unless and these guys always throw in surprises, I'm assuming that the podium should finish as is at the moment, as the 2 people behind Stocko Saints have penalties that would nerf any advantage that they gained with Stocko Saints himself having a penalty. I think that'll be his first podium, Stocko Saints.
I believe, hold on, let me check on the thing, it will be his first podium.
Well, this is what we like to see. We like to see different podium sitters, we like to see different winners, and we like to see competitive drivers. I have to say, Anarchy is back as someone hopefully can get up there and involve. It'll be too late for him to make a championship push, but you know, we had Sharky appear as someone who can win races, Basabi, Tempo, Borish. It all benefits us on regards to entertainment, and hopefully bodes well for a future.
Well, you can actually see, I mean, you never know. I mean, just this performance towards the end of the season with Anarchy is back, it wouldn't surprise me if there's probably a teammate change. You never know. He may actually, people will probably be fighting for him.
You never know. You never know. I think the closest battle now is Desi with Stocko Saints, but that's still a second. So the field is now really well spread out, guys. So I think most of the drivers will be just looking to get it to the end of the Grand Prix with minimal mistakes. And no one wants to be the guy to bin it on the last lap and lose the positions.
Definitely not. I mean, as it stands, this will be the race finishing at the moment. It's just everyone needs to keep their cool. Unless, I mean, those are clouds. I mean, this is Holland. You never know. Oh, there's a yellow flag in section 1 and 2. What has happened? It is Viro. He has. By the looks of things, I'm guessing he did a pirouette. He
would have gone in probably a bit too fast onto that fast right-hand corner and probably tapped the grass.
Brenboy's just come in for softs.
I think he had a free stop behind him. It's going to be close. He had a free stop behind him.
I think he's fine.
Yeah.
Brenboy will now start.
Yeah.
gliding off into the distance.
I think he's looking to steal fastest lap because he had that free stop.
Exactly, that's lovely done, to be honest. I think there is no fastest at the moment. Oh, there is one. I mean, it's closest at the moment. Tim 88 and Desi.
But it is borderline.
Very borderline.
Although,
actually, no, he's coming back. Tim 88 is actually.
Yeah, Desi was quite slow.
800s.
Desi was quite slow. I think you need to be a lot closer around Zandvoort than 8 attempts for an overtake. You probably need to be more like 4 attempts.
Desi was.
Nearly binned it.
Yeah.
Look how slow they all were. That Tevez looking to unlap himself this whole time. He's not playing any part in distracting these drivers other than to have an annoying ghost on the screen. You can't hit him. He is. You can just drive right through him. So he should be no bother. It will just be quite frustrating to have that ghost in your way when you.
Oh, who was that? That is Vero. Vero is now out. Vero, he's stacked it just after.
Yeah.
Going on, I kind of say those S's and just after the first bank corner.
Yeah, it's the uphill section. I've probably got a bit of grass on there and went into the wall by the looks of it. It's been a race of attrition. I kind of expected this. I was talking to you in the week about how really the races are going to be determined by people making mistakes as opposed to like key overtakes. So we're seeing exactly pretty much what we were talking about.
Like we said, it's as it stands. Tim 88, we're actually going to go on board with him as he is coming up closer to Desi. Not enough, unless lock up there by Tim 88, right behind the backside of Desi. Now Desi, he is probably going to be looking to try and salvage what he can. Try and put him off, maybe. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, Tim 88 is going to be overtaking Desi in the table as it stands, because obviously Desi has that 10-second time penalty.
Yeah.
With Tim 88 with only just 5, and he is right up behind Desi.
Yeah, it was Tim 88 had a much better line through that section of the track there, as we can see. And he makes this corner wide and comes for a late apex just to get the power down early. But I think Tim will only make the overtake if it's cut and dry.
Or lock up. But they're still tight, still together. Coming up to the bank corner, coming onto the straight.
He's going to keep making himself as wide as possible. Keep that arrow appearing on the screen.
EOS is activated, but not a lot of it. DRS will also be activated.
He's recharging, Desi's recharging at the front, so there's a big advantage to be had. He's going for it.
He has sent it. Can he get one?
He's going to bin it.
Oh, very good car control. Still behind him though.
You have to counter steer at that
Bit of a lock
point.
up there by 88. I mean, this so far is interesting as we are on our final lap. Bremboy is now went up fastest lap of 1:10.976. He will get that extra point as it stands.
I think that's going to be hard to beat for anyone who hasn't on fresh softs.
As it stands, tempo coming up to possibly the last final corners now, followed by Boris, followed by Stocko Saints.
Who will get his first podium
as it stands. I mean, what a race so far. What a race. He's had DNF after DNF after DNF. He's came back strong. He's coming around the final corner as Tempo for Ferrari wins the Dutch Grand Prix.
Fantastic.
Lovely.
Get himself back in the championship battle, but it's this man who again has benefited from mistakes from his championship rivals. We've seen it all season long. He's only been off the podium once. Stocko Saints
gets his first podium. Congratulations to Stocko Saints for your first podium of the season. Morris Pace, I mean, fourth. How has that happened?
He was spun out in the first lap by his teammate in that bizarre incident.
In that case,
good recovery drive.
What a recovery there. Tim 88, followed by Shiromi, followed by Nessie. I can do it that
we'll
quickly.
Do an official. It should come up now. And
I'll have to say Morris Pace.
Morris Pace for sure.
Red boy.
I saw a lot of good driving out there. This isn't an easy track, as we see with the amount of locking up we've seen, and the instant punishment you get with having grass on the sides of the track. I much prefer these kind of tracks, and I really enjoyed that. There wasn't too much on-track action. There was a lot of tactics, which is always fun, and you need it on tracks like this. Tactics, reacting quickly to safety cars, and on top of that, not hitting curbs, not hitting the grass, keeping yourself in a straight line. This has been a fun race.
Very, very fun race. So we will be looking to do interviews with Tempo, Borish, and of course the Mercedes driver, and also I believe the first Brit to be on the podium, Stocko Saints. Hopefully we see if we can get them in for an interview. I know obviously Bren Boy came up as your opposite as the driver of the day, but in my personal opinion, Morris Pace, that was ridiculous.
It was good recovery.
I mean, yes, fair enough, he was started at 12, and then to come all the way pretty much almost plumb last to come back to 4th, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, he went about it quietly as well, and just goes to show what I always say about keeping your nose clean. That's exactly what he did. So yeah, really, really smart drive from the Alfa Romeo driver there. Not helped, and we'll have to bring you news as what happened with that incident under virtual safety car. We don't know. It looked a bit suspect for me. Looks a bit like a revenge hit, and I hope it wasn't. But we will let you guys know when we do.
We are live at the moment with Stocko Saints. Stocko Saints, congratulations, mate. It's your first podium of the season. And I also congratulate you, the first British chap to be on the podium. Congratulations, mate. How are you feeling?
I feel absolutely ecstatic with that. I know, I think I pitted on about lap 12. Yes. And I had to hold off that Haas for God knows how long. And I just was monitoring the ERS, the fuel just for the straights, and just making sure that I had it covered, because I felt like that was the only overtaking zone.
That's exactly it.
It was great.
It's Matt, the co-commentator. Hiya. What I enjoyed about that race wasn't so much the amount of overtakes, it was benefiting off of people's errors, and I saw quite a lot of locking up. What was difficult about this track, which has caused so many lockups? Is it just the amount of cadence braking you're having to do, or?
Yeah, I think it's just the amount of gradients in the corners. I think it's turn 2 or turn 3, that left-hander. You've got to get it in there and try not to lock up as you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but you wouldn't want to run without anti-lock brakes because the amount of time you lose. So that was definitely for me the most technical race we've seen this year. And look, your first podium, many more to come, and you've been one of the drivers that I've enjoyed watching the most this year with the 2 Hasses as well. You've always been battling. You're keeping yourself battling. So I'm chuffed for you, dude.
Thank you so much.
No worries, thank you. Absolutely.
Anyway, that's what we've got time with you for the moment, Stocko Saints. But like I said, congratulations, mate, on the first podium, mate. Enjoy it, and we will see you in China.
Yes, thank you. See you there.
Thank you very much, mate. We have now got Tempo Tesla. Tempo, I can only imagine, mate, how you're feeling with that. I mean, what incredible race there, mate. I mean, getting the win after DNF after DNF and DNF in a number of amount of races recently, and also to come out swinging. Seriously, fair play to you, mate. How are you feeling?
Yeah, thank you very much, first of all. And yeah, it feels very good because this month it was very unlucky for me. Not only this league, but other leagues I only had DNFs. It was very frustrating for me, and now it feels really good because the problem with me is the consistency, and in races I am very bad in consistency. So today I felt very good that I had a good consistency. So yeah, it feels really good.
Absolutely, especially on a track like this. So you've mentioned consistency. A track like this where there are so many, if you make an error, your punishment is to go onto the grass and spin. So can you just talk to us a little about the technicality of this track and what you're having to manage as you go with locking up and everything?
Yeah, I think if you don't practice for this race, it will be very hard for you. What made me very consistent is before the race I practiced 2 or 3 hours and that made me more consistent. So I had like a how can I say, like a brain memory that I know where to brake,
Yeah.
I know when to go on the throttle. Like you have to be perfect. If you are too early on the throttle, too late, you can make one mistake and it can cause a race in this track. So it's very important to uh, like um, be very perfect at everything. Yes.
I always call that getting your eye in, so you're prepared and you know
Yes.
exactly what needs to be done. So, hey, look, congratulations. I'm sure that's exactly what you needed after 3 DNFs in a row. And
Yeah.
you've got a few more races left now to really keep building the momentum and get back in that championship battle.
Yes, but it was really scary in this the last 3 laps. It was really scary because my left front was on 80% and I went lean and I tried to avoid the curbs. It was really
Wow.
scary.
Was
Yeah,
was that just from locking up and the long corners, like the banking and?
No, I feel like I was pushing a lot. I was really pushing a lot, and I think that's what made my tires very warm.
Yeah.
And the last 2 laps, I was really scared. My heart was beating a little bit. I was like, so much effort, and then I will get a puncture. But very luckily, I went lean mode, and I tried to avoid everything, and I made it.
Wow, man. Well, that is something we didn't know, but wow, well done
Yes.
for keeping that going. That's amazing.
Yeah, literally, Tempo. Congratulations, mate, on the win, and enjoy it. I mean, you're back in the points, you're back in the groove, and we'll see you in China for next week, mate.
Thank you, man. See you next week.
Thank you very much. We are now going live with Boris for McLaren, who is our leader at the moment. Boris, what still a quality drive still for you, mate. Seriously, I can only imagine how you're feeling that as Basabe crashed out of the race. That's obviously given you a bit more of a gap in the championship.
Yeah, for championship, it really was good for me. In quali, I really was surprised about my lap. It really was a good lap, especially in sector 2 and 3. There I was the fastest, but in sector 1 I had a lot of issues because I don't know how to drive in sector 1. There I was about 0.3 lower than P1 and P2, but sector 2 and 3 were very, very good, and so I almost get pole. And Zandvoort is a track which I really don't like because this track is new and I can't drive very good there because I don't know the braking points very good. I have got some issues, but at the end P2 it really is a very good result. I'm surprised.
Absolutely, especially considering what you've said, where you're not too sure where your braking points are and the amount of grass or where you could end your race. So if you didn't know the track well and you've got P2, I think the rest of the league should be very afraid of you, man. You've got a big lead now. Looking good for you.
Yeah.
A lovely short and sweet answer. Anyway, Boris, that's all we've got time for, mate. But seriously, congratulations around the podium. Obviously after last week, so well done, mate. Enjoy the podium, and we'll see you in China for next week's race.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, mate. Okay, we are now live with our brand new chat for the WWRL Championship for Tier 1. It is Maurice Pace for the Alfa Romeo. Maurice Pace, me and Matt are still getting around this, by the way. That incident on lap 1, where your teammate bashed it into the back of you and kind of pushed you. Was that the case? Because we need to get it from your perspective, seriously.
I'll be honest, I kind of felt like he did push me in the back. A lot happened at turn 1. I ended up with a 5-second time penalty for someone brake testing me, which I wasn't very happy about. But yeah, it was manic. I don't know what happened, whether he had a braking issue, but it felt like he hit me from behind. But you know, I'm sure it wasn't on purpose. I'm sure he probably missed his braking point. But yeah, that was a manic race.
Absolutely. At the start, obviously you're going into your first race in a new league. You had a good quali, then all this hectic stuff happens. Next thing you know, you've kind of gone about your race quietly and you got yourself up to fourth. I mean, was that just like consistent driving, keeping yourself out of trouble, to maximise your results, come back? I mean, it was a great drive, dude.
I mean, when I was last, the strategy was really mixed up, I'll be honest. Originally, I wanted to go mediums and hards, and obviously all the VSCs and everything just sort of cocked it up, and then I had the damage. But yeah, it was just staying consistent. I felt like I had quite a lot of fuel, and I was preserving my ERS quite a lot, just to make sure I was only using it on overtakes that mattered. And especially at the end, with the two guys in front of me had time penalties, I had saved up my ERS a little bit, so I knew I could stay within the distance to them and get the points. But it was staying clean because I saw so many drivers put like, I don't know, an inch on the curbs on the grass, and their car goes flying out the race. So when I saw that, I sort of just played, be consistent, and the places will come, and it happened.
That's what I've enjoyed about this track, is that old school instant punishment for putting a tyre wrong with the grass or stones. And there are some curbs as well, like in turn 1, where if you put the unloaded tyre on, you're doing a pirouette. So talk a little bit about race management, minimising your lockups, for example, around the banked corners. How do you handle that for those who probably don't drive with anti-lock brakes?
Well, the main thing for me is just keep your revs quite low. Don't brake too late. It's better to go slow in, fast out, because you're not going to lock up, especially for me when I was on those hard tyres. My tyres were worn, and any lockup would just do myself damage. So when you're going into a corner, brake a little bit earlier, downshift a little bit later, and just to minimise those lockups, because towards the end of the race, especially if you're doing a long stint like I did, lockups can really cost you, especially around Zandvoort, as you said, with the curbs and the track being not very... how do I say it? Not
friendly.
Very eager. Not very friendly. You know, if you put a wheel on the curb and you lock up, you know, as we saw from a couple of drivers, I think one driver I saw went in the air.
Yeah,
that was Basabe. That literally, in fact, we saw that on the edge of our screen, well, in the monitor right in front of us. And I'm not gonna lie, as much as Basabe is such a lovely guy, I mean, a lovely Dutch boy, and also probably one of the top contenders for the title. To literally go airborne like that was just surreal.
that was a big one.
It just gave me flashbacks to Mark Webber.
Oh my word, yes.
Yes, God, yes.
2010 European Grand Prix,
It
right?
was, yes, it was, yeah.
I'm a nerd. What can I say? Awesome,
anyway, Morris Pace, mate. Either way, mate. Seriously, congratulations on the 4th position, mate. Welcome to the WWRL League. And let's face it, I'll see you in China, mate. We'll be taking you in great consideration for next race.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, mate.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the 4th place.
All the best.
Well, that's all we have time for. 20 drivers. Maybe not all of them finished, let's face it. Matt, once again, thank you very much for joining me. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. It's good not to be laid up in bed, coughing and spluttering. And it's good to have a race where only 11 people finish. Nearly 50% of the drivers don't finish. Always good entertainment, virtual racing, sim racing, and it is anyone's game.
20 drivers start, 11 finish. Where have we seen that before?
Wow, exactly.
Anyway, thank you guys. That's all we have time for. But we will be back on Friday for the Chinese Grand Prix in Shanghai. Thank you very much for watching. See you then.